Hey guys, so this is going to be the start to a new series where I'm going to take the approval rating of the president and apply it to the 2020 electoral map. Essentially, the approval rating of the president, let's say, in this scenario, it's going to be 50%, but let's say the president has a 35% approval rating. We would look at an electoral map where his approval rating is 35%. We're going to start off with 50, starting off, in this, the middle area, and then going a little bit higher, and then we will start doing, the 35%, 40%, 45%. So obviously this map isn't going to be the best for the Democrats, considering Trump's approval rating right now is around 42% according to 538, and then around 43% in terms of likely voters, which is something that I actually would trust more than just all adults. But overall, how America views the president is also very important, not just voters themselves. But when it comes down to the election, voters are pretty much the only ones that matter for obvious reasons. When it comes down to it, the Democratic Party and Republican parties are going to carry the same number of states. I mean, we look at this map, Donald Trump is probably going to sweep all the same states regardless of his approval rating. At some points, obviously, some states are going to be a little bit closer than others. Texas, I'm not going to be putting in the safe column for right now, but we're just going to start filling in the map, and we're going to start looking at the margins for Trump, because that's something that I always like to point out as well. But obviously, the Democrats and the Republicans are both going to carry a number of these states. I mean, they're going to carry the Northeast regardless of how Trump is approved of. Even if he has like a 75% approval rating, some of these northeastern states are still going to remain in the Democratic column, and that's just based off partisan voting. That is not my own, oh, Trump will never carry the states because he's Trump. It's not that. It's not my type of thinking. It's just based off the previous elections and the data itself. So when we look at these numbers, a 50% approval rating wouldn't actually be bad for the president. I mean, he's at 42% right now. He obviously would be gaining voters, and if we do look at his approval rating, it doesn't look too good right now. The 2020 electoral map doesn't look too good for him either. But Donald Trump at 50% could do a lot of damage to the Democrats, because he would be approved by half the country, and he's already at a point where Republicans actually could do better because of Trump coming out, and that's only at a 42% approval rating. So obviously some other states like the Rust Belt would definitely lighten their view on Donald Trump if he does improve from 42% to 50%, and states like Pennsylvania, which only negatively approve of the president by single digits, whereas Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota all disapprove of him by double digits. Obviously, Pennsylvania would look a little bit better for the president than the other states. So overall, when we take a look, actually we can go back to the last time a president was elected, and that was not 2016, but before that, 2012. President Barack Obama actually had, according to Gallup, around a 50% approval rating, so 51% to 43% disapprove. So when we look at these numbers, we would probably see like 50-50 or maybe 50-48 for the president. So there would still be that disapprove there because it's always there for the president, but when it comes down to it, he would still be at a much better standing. So also, Barack Obama did win his election pretty considerably based off that approval rating. So it was 51 to 43 according to Gallup. It wouldn't be as good for Donald Trump, but it would still be pretty good. So Missouri, Indiana, South Carolina, all these states I still put in the likely column for right now, because they haven't added a tilt column to 70. So for right now, for the 2020 electoral map, which I think they should, but also they should change the color. It looks really bad. But those states I still see going to the president, just not by 30%. I see these states still going, especially Texas itself. All these states, South Carolina actually went for Trump less than Indiana and Missouri, but Texas went less than all three of those states, which is very interesting considering that Obama almost won Missouri and Indiana, and did win Indiana actually in 2008 and didn't come close in Texas. We have 163 electoral votes for Trump and 183 for the Democratic Party. Overall, we can take a look at those Trump states from 2016. North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida, all those states would go to the president. I mean, we're going to see a sweep of the president down in the South. Over in Ohio and Iowa, these states are going to be likely states for the president. Arizona would actually turn into a likely state because, again, the president would be gaining in terms of voters, considering that his base pretty much is around 43-44% nationwide. So he would definitely be gaining voters, which is something that would definitely help him in terms of his electoral numbers. He would win the Rust Belt, but I don't think it's by 5% or more. So essentially, he has been reelected president. However, states like New Mexico, I still see going into the likely column for the Democrats, probably around 6% win for the Democrats. Up in Maine, that second district becomes a safe district for Trump. And if there was a tilt column, I wish there was for cases like Maine, but that Maine at large I would put in the tilt column, but narrowly goes to the Democratic Party, along with Virginia, which narrowly goes to the Democrats. And then in Colorado, I do not know. I honestly do not think the president would win here. I think this would be a tilt for the Democrats. They could narrowly edge it out here. But over in Nevada and Minnesota, I do see a narrow Trump victory along with New Hampshire. So overall, My screen recorder cut off, but essentially what I was saying was, before you dislike and before you unsubscribe, comment down below, whatever. Overall, this map is going to be very good for the president, considering that his base only hovers around at a 43% approval rating, so he would definitely be gaining voters. And in states like Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, if Trump expands his approval, he would only be expanding his margins. If he won here in 2016, he could win here in 2020 if he expands voters. I mean, for obvious reasons. If he was able to win there before, he'll likely win there in 2020. And Minnesota and Nevada, which don't really approve of the president right now, could go to the president only because he would be gaining voters. He lost in both of these states by less than 2% and in New Hampshire by less than 1%. So if he does gain voters in these states, which he likely will, considering that they aren't as opposed to the president as Maryland, California, Illinois, overall that would be very beneficial to the president. And the numbers may seem a little too lopsided for your opinion. However, I think when it comes down to, there are going to be other times where Donald Trump will not have a high approval rating and the map will not look good for him at all. So right now where we stand, I'm going to do actually one tomorrow as well. I'll probably do one until we finish off most of the approval numbers. Obviously not up by 1, but probably around up by 10% or 5% at sometimes. But overall, right now, Donald Trump would do very well if he had a 50% approval rating. So thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I'll see you all tomorrow.